let's get right into it as the 49ers beat the Falcons on Sunday Night Football 20-10. And the Falcons were coming off of a Monday Night Football win against the vaunted Buffalo Bills. And yet the 49ers get 2 rushing touchdowns from Christian McCaffrey, a couple of clutch field goals from Eddie Pinheiro, who has been absolutely money for the 49ers since he got signed to replace Jake Moody. And the 49ers go on to beat the Falcons 20-10. What were your takeaways from this one, Kevin?
He's also been money for my fantasy team. So I saw him hit it up the first week, and I was like, he's still here. Let me take a chance on him. As a avid 49ers hater, anti-fan, whatever you want to call me, hats off to you guys. You guys had every reason defensively to go out there and lay down. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Toddy was telling me you guys have some corners out here, so your secondary is not even healthy. You guys had every reason to go out there and lay down, and you did it. The Atlanta Falcons coming off probably their biggest win of the season, and there's still a lot of season to be played, but be able to beat Buffalo Bills, who a lot of people, none of us on the podcast, unfortunately, said they can go win a Super Bowl. This is one of the best teams in the AFC, so for them to go in there and beat them in their home, like Shaun said, on primetime football in front of the whole world, this is what we expect out of the Falcons. You know, Kirk Cousins came in there and they weren't able to get it done, but you have this young nucleus of guys, and you're expecting them to continue playing. And they went into this game off that high, and you can tell. The 49ers defense, Robert Saleh, completely changed this game. Bijan had his season low and just overall yards finished with 92 yards. Michael Penix, season low completion percentage. They were all over the place with all backups. So with every reason to come in there and lay down with this high octane offense that we've seen in the Atlanta Falcons, for them to come in here and play at that kind of performance, hats off to them. Hats off to them, because we say that the Bills defense has always been mediocre, but to go in there and do that on primetime against Josh Allen, forcing 3 turnovers, doing it on all phases, showed how good this team could be. But with a young team like this, you're worried about them on a short week, and this is why you're worried about them, because they're coming off such a high, and now they're going into the week this week. I don't know who they play, coming off an extreme low. I am concerned for Christian McCaffrey. He is on pace to have 306 rushing attempts, which is a career high. For a guy who has battled injury after injury after injury, for you guys to just be a CMC or bust team, I get it. Ricky Pearsall's out. Brandon Ayuk is still recovering from an injury. George Kittle was a basic no-show in this game. First game back from a hamstring injury, I believe. So this offense is going to have to get the ball rolling. But for CMC, it's CMC or bust at this point. He led the team with rushing attempts with 24 rushing attempts. Shaun mentioned it, 2 touchdowns. He found the end zone last game, or was this week the first rushing touchdown?
I believe that it was this week.
Okay, so for them to go 4 or 5 weeks without a rushing touchdown, for them to get 2, just goes to show how good Christian McCaffrey is. I know a lot of people, we always talk fantasy. I know a lot of guys early weren't really wanting to pick him because they didn't know what they were going to get. Coming off of 2 Achilles injuries, and to single-handedly carry this team to a 5-1 record says a lot about Christian McCaffrey. He is Offensive Player of the Year, hands down, because he is single-handedly carrying this team. You could arguably say he's playing for an MVP. Because if you take him off of this team, what is this team? I told you how he led the team in rushing. He also led the team in receiving yards, and not only yards, but receptions, with 7 receptions and 72 receiving yards. This team is playing out of the world. And we talked about the injuries on the defensive end. We talked about Kittle coming back. We talked about Ricky. We talked about not Greg Jennings. Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings.
Third and Juwan.
No Brock Purdy. Mac Jones probably had the worst game as a starter so far. No touchdowns, interception. This team said, we're going to run the fucking football, and we're going to run at a very high level. Trent Williams, and it's always been Trent Williams and the other guys. The other guys did their fucking thing, because Trent Williams hasn't been having the best seasons. Everyone can say, the age is probably getting to him, but as a unit, they're playing extremely well. And to have that kind of a run game, Mac Jones has been able to get it going. So coming into this game, you're expecting them to sling it around. Mac Jones had a bad game. They relied on I believe the highest paid player on the team. Bosa might have him beat out, but I think CMC is the highest paid player on your team, and it showed. They said, we're going to give it to CMC. every time. And like I said, he is on track to have the most carries in his career. The closest he's come to 306 was in 2023, which was his all offensive player of the year and Super Bowl appearance. So it showed if you give him the workload, he'll take you to the big dance. So let's just hope, knocking on wood. I love watching him play. So for him to continue this playing style and the way that they're just giving him all these carries, yes, you worry, but you're like, damn, if he can stay healthy, this could be another offensive player of the year. And I'm not going to say Super Bowl appearance, but I'm sure Shaun's going to say, as you guys know. For the audio-only listeners, Shaun has a 23 Christian McCaffrey hat on. And this whole segment, he's just been cheesing cheek to cheek. So I'm sure he's going to come on here and give you guys more Niner stuff, but I wanted to come on here and give respect to where respect is due, because I know a lot of Niner fans and I don't get along very well. But that game, I was the only one who chose the Falcons, because off of the Bills, you would just expect them to come in here and do it again. But Robert Saleh and the band of nobodies came out there and held this team to 10 points.
Hey, well, first of all, salute, Kevin. I appreciate you showing respect where it's due. The 49ers are 5-2 with their third and fourth string players. As Grey Wolf says, 49ers are winning games with third and fourth string players. Congrats to San Fran. We appreciate you for saying that. And yeah, when it comes to Christian McCaffrey, you mentioned the 23 carries, 114 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Then he adds 7 catches for 72 receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey is on pace for 1,093 rushing yards this season and 1,093 rushing yards and 1,252 receiving yards. And then when you look at how he had 100+ rushing yards and 70+ receiving yards for the 7th time in his NFL career, he broke a tie with Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk and Priest Holmes for the most such games in NFL history. He just broke a record that was held and shared by 2 Hall of Famers. I think it's safe to say that Christian McCaffrey is a future first ballot Hall of Famer.
Easy.
Am I willing to say that the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl this season? No, I'm not ready to say that. I am very encouraged and happy with this 5-2 start, despite all of the injuries that have happened. But the fact that Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are both out for the entire season and there's no shot of either of them coming back, that's where my confidence level tends to dip a bit. I just want to see the 49ers get to the playoffs, and just if they're able to win each week, I'm just going to ride the wave. I'm not going to set myself up with sky-high expectations to be disappointed. I'm going into it pessimistic and just enjoying the ride. But Christian McCaffrey gave us a great game to enjoy on Sunday night, as you and I, as well as Blue, also really enjoyed that game. And so it was great to watch. And we mentioned Eddie Pinheiro, who has been money for your fantasy team. He's been money for a couple of my fantasy teams. He's been money for Jaevon's fantasy team, because Jaevon got him the first week that he was a 49er in our Stats Over Politics fantasy football league. And so after that first week, I looked at all 4 of my leagues. Only 3 of them have kickers, but I looked at all 4 of my leagues and I was like, all right, I don't care who my kicker is. I'm taking this guy. And I looked, I was able to scoop him up in 2 of the leagues, but then the one league I couldn't get him in was Stats Over Politics, because Toddy already got him before I could. He sniped him. And so the thing about Eddie Pinheiro is that he has now set the franchise record for consecutive field goals to start a season with 17, breaking the record that was set by Mr. Reliable, arguably another future Hall of Famer, and Robbie Gould. We don't see a lot of kickers go into the Hall of Fame, but Robbie Gould is one of those guys who is right up there, that if there was going to be a kicker to make it to the Hall of Fame, Robbie Gould is one of those guys. And Eddie Pinheiro just broke the record that Robbie Gould set when he started with the 49ers. And now when it comes to Mac Jones, he earned a $400,000 incentive by winning 4 games as the 49ers starting quarterback this season. He's now 4-1. And so congrats to him getting paid. I'm really happy for him. But Kevin, speaking about Mac Jones, that brings me to an impromptu segment here on episode 163 of Stats Over Politics. This is usually your bag, Kevin, but given what we're talking about, I just have to throw it out there. Fact or cap, Mac Jones is the best quarterback from the 2021 NFL draft class, Kevin.
That's Tua, Trey, Justin.
No. Tua was in 2020. Justin was in 2020. So the 2021 draft class, I'll just help you out here. The 2021 draft class was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, all went in the first 15
hell
picks.
no. Justin Fields. I mean, not Justin Fields, sorry. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had a resurgence. I know that it was easy for us to sit here and say Trevor Lawrence stinks, Trevor Lawrence is this, Trevor Lawrence is that. But to be a playoff win, he has a playoff win, something that Justin Herbert doesn't have, something that a lot of guys don't have. Yes, I get it. Mac Jones took the Patriots to the playoffs. The Patriots, with the weapons that he did not have, I understand that. But I still think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback out of there. And you know me, Shaun, I'm a big guy to say Mac Jones is a product of a system, just like Brock Purdy. With all the things going around him, to have a running back that you can hand the ball off 24 times and throw it to him 8 times, it's a pretty good thing to have. Now, besides this game, Mac Jones looked bad. But the other games that he's been starting, he's been throwing for 350 a night. So Mac Jones has been getting it done without the guys. And we saw Brock Purdy in the same position with these same weapons last year when they weren't good, and he couldn't get it done. So I'm not going to sit here and say Mac Jones is the best from the 21 class, but I definitely have him second. I don't know if Shaun is the Justin Fields fan club owner anymore now that he's been benched, but I'm going to have to go cap on this one.
Well, I will forever and always be the proud president of the Justin Fields fan club, but I am also realistic. I'm unbiased. So posing the question to myself, factor cap, Mac Jones is the best quarterback from the 2021 draft class. This is cap. I wish it could be a fact, but I have been pleasantly surprised by Mac Jones, not only this season, specifically this season, but even throughout his first 4 years of his career, because he had that tremendous rookie season when Trey Lance was sitting on the bench behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And I showed the clip 3 weeks ago of my instant reaction from the 2021 NFL draft when the 49ers did not pick Mac Jones. And Kevin, I think you nailed it, that Mac Jones has proven to this point that he is the second best quarterback from the 2021 draft class. And he is making a case for himself that he could eventually become the best from the 2021 NFL draft class. But this is still Brock Purdy's team. Mac Jones will likely have a chance to go be a starter elsewhere starting next season, just like Sam Darnold did after 1 year with the 49ers. And so Mac Jones has a chance to be the best quarterback eventually from this draft class. But as of right now, October 23rd, 2025, this is cap. Mac Jones is not the best, or Mac Jones is the best quarterback from the 2021 draft class. This is cap. And the reason why I say that this is cap as well is something else that you hit on is when you look at the winning percentage, when a QB1 is injured since 2022, Kyle Shanahan is 17-7 and has won 71% of his games with his quarterback one injured. 71%. That is just an insane statistic. And it's with a large sample size too. It's not like it's with 5 games or whatever. 24 games, and he has a 71% winning percentage. Then you look at the next closest, Zach Taylor is 5-7, 42%. Sean McVay, 3-8, 27%. John Harbaugh, 2-6, 25%. And so Kyle Shanahan is the guy. Kyle Shanahan is the answer. And so therefore it's cap. Mac Jones is the second.
Is he the guy?
Yes, he is.
The guy that gets
forever
to the finish line and says it's all on you. I mean, we all remember 28-3. We all remember the guy who didn't know the overtime rules. So I get it. It's great to say he's the guy, but the guy gets it across the finish line. He just gets you there.
Well, we will have to wait and see because he's run into the Chiefs twice and the GOAT when he's reached the Super Bowl as a head coach twice and as an offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. And so we shall see. I believe in Kyle Shanahan. He's a top 5 coach in the NFL. And so I'm a believer in Kyle Shanahan, and I believe that he will win the 49ers a Super Bowl eventually. I'm a believer. There's no better guy out there to replace him And so therefore, I'm riding with Kyle Shanahan until the wheels fall off. As we keep things moving here on episode 163 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside